It is 1701, and Louis XIV patiently sends for the painter Yazan Rigaud and cannot wait for the final result of his portrait. The picture itself describes nothing special in its manner. King wears high heels, wig, and some strange-looking skirt with hose. After less than 100 years of this day, almost everything he wears disappears with his daily lives and getting part of the museum exponents or ceremonial clothing. If we roll the clock back, we would see that primarily before 18th century, dressing codes was a different chapter of the story. At the beginning, everyone wears skirts in Egypt. Men went bare-chested, wear kilt-like garment called shanty that was wrapped around the hips. Different variations existed for the different classes, but between men's and women's dress, difference was not as contrast as it is nowadays. In following centuries, in Greco-Roman era, the key garment for both men and women was chiton, a tunic comprising two rectangles of cloth attached at the shoulders and the sides. Actually, barbarians surrounding northern part of the Mediterranean at this time wearing pants. And after mass migration of tribes, pants wearing became an everyday affair in Europe. Somewhere in between 14th and 13th century, the tailor's art improved. At this time, people were able to create type of clothing which is more fitted to the entire body and feel comfortable for horse riding and other physical activities. Now, tights, hose, and different types of breeches all of a sudden were easier to make. Slowly, the skirt for many people began to disappear. First, they are getting shorter, then they get shorts and finally disappears. People start wearing pants and hose. Nevertheless, during 18th century, some people still wearing skirts, especially ruling class. People of low and middle class tend to get more powerful, and their type of masculine clothing which fit of particular body getting influential, and fit became the criterion of dress rather than decoration and color. The tendency gets even stronger after the French Revolution, when the lower class finally managed to come to the power. At this time, former elite rapidly lost its privilege and immunities, and with them luxury in costume. And simultaneously, powerful middle class dictates own style to the upper classes, and our familiar trousers for the first time gets acceptable to everybody in society. Before revolution, work connected with economic activities had been considered degrading and somehow humiliating to the upper classes. In contrast, the revolution asserted that the man valued by his skills and based on what they could do for the society, rather than honor or virtue. After these revolutionary changes, the mass-supported activities were held, in fact, in workshop, in counting house, or in the office. These activities required a man to wear more functional, more practical uniform than in previous decades. And if you go back in time, you will see that before 18th century, perception of the men's clothing was different. It was more colorful, more beautiful, men used to wear skirts. And there was only a slight difference between men's and women's dress. But a new age created a style where men's clothes was less colorful and more masculine. Men stopped wearing skirts. His style got more and more somber. And from 18th century, the style familiar for us finally emerged, and more than 200 years stays irreplaceable with slight changes.